All right, let's jump right in. We're going to tackle a topic that, let's be honest, can be a real headache in anatomy, the spinal cord tracts. But I promise, by the end of this, we're going to make this whole thing feel way, way clearer.
Yeah, see? I don't see a lot of hands. It can feel like you're just trying to memorize a giant, confusing map with no legend. It trips a lot of people up, but what if there was a way to look at it that just clicks?
So for a second, I want you to just forget all those dense, complicated diagrams you've seen. Instead, I want you to picture this: a massive, bustling, multi-lane superhighway. This highway is going to be our guide through this entire system.
Because that's really what the nervous system is, isn't it? It's this incredibly sophisticated information superhighway that connects every single part of your body to the central command center, your brain.
Okay, so first things first, let's get our bearings on the map. You've got two main parts: the central nervous system, the CNS, that's the brain and the spinal cord. Think of these as the major cities and the big interstate connecting them. Then you have the peripheral nervous system, the PNS. These are all the smaller local roads and side streets that branch out to every single neighborhood, or, every part of your body. Today, we are focused on that main interstate, the spinal cord.
So if we're going to understand how all this traffic is moving around, we've got to understand the anatomy of the road itself. I mean, what are these pathways actually made of? And this is where it starts to get really cool. Look at this breakdown. You can see how everything is organized. Way at the top, the whole nervous system. That splits into the CNS and PNS. And then, deep inside the CNS's white matter, you find them, the tracts. These are our highways. They're these very specific, highly organized bundles of nerve fibers that we're going to be talking about. Okay, so to make this whole thing stick, let's lay down the rules of the road. It's super simple. Whenever I say highway, you think tract. Each individual lane on that highway, that's a single neuron or nerve cell. And the cars that are speeding along in those lanes, well, those are the electrical signals carrying all the information. Highway, lane, car. Got it?
And just so we're all on the same page, here's the official textbook definition. A tract is just a bunch of nerve fibers, specifically the axons, that are all bundled together inside the central nervous system, all traveling in the same direction. They're either heading up to the brain or down from the brain, kind of like traffic on a one-way street.
All right, let's talk about the first direction of traffic on our superhighway, the northbound lanes. This is all the sensory information coming from your body and traveling up to your brain to get processed.
This map just lays it all out beautifully, doesn't it? See all that blue? Everything you see in blue represents these ascending or sensory pathways. These are the northbound lanes, and they are packed with cars carrying data about everything you're touching, feeling, and sensing out in the world. Every single journey has to start somewhere, right? So just imagine a baby grabbing onto your finger. That feeling, that sensation of fine touch right there on your skin, that's the beginning of the signal. That's the car getting on the on-ramp, merging onto the spinal cord superhighway with its GPS set straight for the brain.
Now, not all the traffic is the same. You've got different kinds of cars carrying different kinds of cargo. On one side, you've got precise sensations. This is the high-definition stuff like fine touch, vibration, or proprioception, which is just that sense of knowing where your body parts are without looking. On the other side, you've got the primitive sensations. Think of these as the urgent alerts, pain, temperature, that kind of thing.
And these different types of signals actually take different highways to get to the brain. And here's the key takeaway, the thing you absolutely need to remember. The dorsal column is like the express lane for all those precise sensations. Meanwhile, the spinothalamic tract handles the primitive sensations, those urgent alerts. Knowing which tract carries which signal is absolutely crucial.
Now, for a really fascinating traffic rule. It's a little weird, but most of the information coming from the right side of your body actually gets processed by the left side of your brain, and the other way around. To do this, the signals literally have to cross the median at some point in their trip. In neuroscience, this big crossover event has a name, decussation. It's a fundamental rule of how our whole nervous system is wired.
Okay, so we've got the northbound traffic down. All that info is flowing up to the brain. But what about the other way? What about the southbound lanes? Well, these are the motor commands. These are the instructions going from the brain back out to the body.
So if we look back at our map, it's pretty clear. All that red you're seeing, that's our southbound traffic. These are all the descending or motor pathways. The signals on these highways start in the brain, travel down the spinal cord,
and their whole job is to tell your muscles exactly what to do.
Think about it. Every single thing you choose to do, from picking up your coffee to lifting a heavy weight like this, it all starts as a command fired off from your brain. That command is a car that gets onto a southbound highway, speeds down a very specific track, and then takes an exit ramp right at the muscle it needs to control.
And when it comes to this southbound traffic, there is one main highway that you absolutely have to know. It's the big one. It's called the corticospinal tract. This is the primary route for pretty much all of the voluntary movements you make with your body and your limbs. You could call it the command and control highway for your entire motor system.
Okay, so we've mapped out the whole system, right? We've got the northbound sensory lanes, the southbound motor lanes. We know what kind of traffic each one carries, but so what? Why does understanding this traffic flow actually matter in the real world?
And this is the question that brings it all home. This is what takes it from just memorizing stuff in a textbook to understanding real-world medicine. Because if you know exactly which highway carries which signal, you can start to predict the precise consequences of a traffic jam or a total roadblock, say from a spinal cord injury or a stroke. Understanding the map is the absolute first step to diagnosing the problem, and that is why this superhighway is so incredibly important to understand.